All right, I'm going to be honest. If you're trying to scale your business and you're paying humans to do tasks which AI and computers can do more efficiently, then I urge you to take a look at this 4-phase approach, which we managed to build our partners over 200 million in pipeline within the first 6 months, booking them with opportunities with Fortune 500 companies. I'll show you exactly how you can adapt this system to your business. I'll give you all of these templates for free. Let's get straight into this code base now. So if you've never touched a line of code, if you've never built out a software system or software, I'll walk you through how to do every single part of this, how to link up all your accounts, walk through the cost analysis, what's the most cost effective for you guys. And all of this will be for completely free over the next few videos. Now, this video is just to give a brief outline of the 4 phases approach. I have not seen anyone push out a system like this, or at least completely automate every single part. So that is generating and booking you clients with only a little bit of upfront effort while you're focusing on delivering for clients and actually creating a good product. Now, to start off, and this is probably the most important part, is understanding the ideal customer profile for yourself, for your business. And regardless if you're a low ticket company or if you're a massive B2B dealing with enterprise clients, I'll show you how to build out the system, creating opportunities into your CRM. The way we create a lead list and the way we actually scrape is using AI technologies to scrape all publicly available information on the web, such as websites, LinkedIn profiles. And then we use this to narrow it down. And then we enrich that data using APIs. So if you haven't heard of an API, it's basically a way of connecting different softwares together. So you can use an AI software to enrich your spreadsheet and then find different capabilities to exactly enrich it to find the key data points which you guys would be looking to find. Then what we do once we've enriched it, and I'll show you how to create a really good enrichment, then we hyper-personalize outreach towards each of these specific people. Now, example of this hyper-personalization would be, we're scrolling through your LinkedIn, found your recent post on XYZ, really loved your take on XYZ. Now, I did a bit of research into your company and I found around this, and you provide them as much value off the bat from the enrichment and the data points which we gathered in the previous step. Then I'll show you how to actually set up email inboxes and domains and everything so you do not end up in spam. Now, this is a very, very important part, and I do not see anyone talking about this. I'll show you how to configure all the records and configure DNS, DKIM records, everything around that. So you can match inboxes, warm it up, and then when you do send these emails of extreme value, everybody is seeing it. On top of that, if they aren't seeing it from there, then we use AI and we use follow-ups to optimize when is the best time to follow up and then provide them with a bit more value on a sequence chain. And then we would do that 3 times and then we'd start again maybe a month later. And I'll go into cold email tips, how to create offerings, how to create market resonant messaging. Finally, if they're not responding to emails as well, we are able to find their LinkedIn if they've got that. And then outreach through connections. And then what we have found, and no one else is talking about this, is LinkedIn voice messages. So from our personal experience, we've got almost an 85% reply rate from LinkedIn voice messages. And that's sort of unheard of. I doubt any of you guys have heard a LinkedIn voice message. And imagine if you heard one, which was from an authentic person talking about your pain points, talking about your company, showing that they've done research. And we're able to apply this across all the thousands of leads, which I'll show you how to scrape. Once somebody replies to an email, for example, or a LinkedIn message, how do we follow up? How do we nurture them? And how do we actually book that meeting in a calendar? Now, there's a 391% higher reply rate when you respond within the first 60 seconds of receiving an email. But what we're able to do is train an AI to respond on your behalf based on your company frequently asked questions, based on your calendar availability, based on all of this information to make it seem like it's from you. And if it's a longer email, it'll take around 45 seconds. If it's a short email, it'll take maybe 15 to 30 seconds. That's the kind of brand perception which we create through all of these automations. And it does not sound like AI because the whole purpose is to point you in the direction of a call and get them speaking face to face or over a meeting. Now I'll walk through LinkedIn voice message tips, how to automate it with AI, how to automate the connections. And that brings us on to stage 2, around discovery. Once a prospect who we have researched, who is an extremely high opportunity lead, converts and books a meeting, then we do a whole enrichment and discovery process around them to prepare for the first call. Now, all of this is happening behind the scenes and these AI agents are doing this entire thing. I'll show you how to completely build out the system if you have absolutely zero knowledge about AI or agents and you just want to focus on optimizing your sales process. Now, if they have a positive reply, we put them into one chain. If we have a negative reply, we put them to a not interested file or a not interested folder, and maybe we would follow up in a few months if times change. And if it's not the right time at the moment, then we put them into a nurturing campaign, which nurtures them over the next few months and comes back to them when they were ready to speak. To start off, if you get a positive reply, we import that into a CRM and we do research around that specific person. Now, what we would do, we would enrich them further from the previous stage. We'd find out more information about their company through scraping their website, their LinkedIn, all publicly available information. We format that, and I'll show you how to do that and optimize everything into one report. So that report will also be in the CRM next to the prospect, so you can read up on them just before you take the meeting. But also, if your company has specific, and what we've found really works, if you have specific objectives going into a discovery call, like you've got a checklist of stuff you need to find to then create an offer or proposal to them, then we help understand if those questions are already answered on their website or from any publicly available information. And then we compose that into the document so that when you're asking the questions, you can have the document open and it will research everything around them. Furthermore, this system will also create a persona around that person. So when you actually reach out to them, you know what their interests are and you know how to have an amazing conversation if your interests line up. And that's what we help to build out, so you can immediately get that report off the bat. If they do not turn up to the meeting which they said they have booked in, I'll show you how to build out automations which immediately follow up with them, immediately nurture them if they're not following up still, and also have automations which send notifications maybe a day before, an hour before, to remind them there's a meeting, and if they're available to take that or if they want to reschedule. Finally, moving on to the third stage around proposal. Once you've conducted the discovery call and your suspicions have been confirmed or changed or pain points have been identified, whatever you want to cover on the discovery call, and I'll show you what works for us. And you can copy that or you can adapt it to your own company. Once you've done the discovery call, all of that will be transcribed and analyzed by an AI which will be on that meeting. I'll show you how to integrate that, build that into your softwares. And then once that has been transcribed, the AI is able to understand what places you need to follow up with. So if you booked a meeting, if you said you'll book up a follow-up call, the AI will immediately take care of that after the meeting. Then if you said you're going to send over a bit of company information or docs or something, an NDA, AI will take care of that and send it over. And when we actually build out these systems, I'll show you how to have as much control or let the AI take as much as off your hands as possible. What we would normally do and what we've found really works is straight into a proposal. So once we've gathered all the valuable information, and the whole point of the previous step was not to have too many follow-up calls, cover all the valuable information off the bat, gather all the information, and then put it in the proposal for the next call. Now, what happens in this step is if you have a proposal or pitch deck, slide template, or I'll show you what we use, then we can translate all of that information, all the research we gathered from the previous calls, and put it into the presentation. And I'll show you a few hacks and a few tips which we've found to completely optimize this process, make it super efficient. So you only need to spend 5 minutes looking at the presentation and maybe changing a few minute points, but the AI will have done all the heavy lifting. And what we want to try to get is throughout this entire process, AI is doing 80% of the work, and then you're just refining and catching up on the 20%. Now, we've built a full-on profile around their company, around the person, and all of this will be translated into the proposal. And I'll walk through like what really works for us around offer creation, proposal creation, but also some hacks on how to make it look extremely aesthetic and increase your brand perception. Now, one more thing before proposal call, you may be thinking it's a bit short of a process, 1 call, 2 call close. And if you're doing a much higher, large ticket item, how would they feel enough connection to convert in 1 or 2 call closes? So what we've found for these large high ticket items, you need around 7 to 8 touch points. And what we do is we will show you how to build out touch points and market messaging which resonates, but also integrate those touch points into this automation system. And so it's pushing out through the automation all of the touch points to the prospects in the middle of the week or every 3 days, just to keep them on top of it and keep them informed that you guys are constantly looking out for them. You guys are really interested in their progress. And then that creates an even higher brand perception. And it creates an opener for when you actually take the meeting with the prospect. Now, finally, the fourth stage is around the refinement and the continuous iteration up until closing or passing over that prospect. Now, to start off, in the proposal phase, we've created the proposal presentation, and like the previous step, we also record the proposal call. So when you present the presentation to them, it will record all the feedback, the sentiment, where you can improve, but also calculates the next steps. So if they weren't happy with the offer, they wanted to look back at some stuff, then it will schedule a meeting for whenever you discussed, or it will take the necessary actions which they discussed. So if they wanted a document sent over, if they wanted a surface level agreement sent over, it will take care of all of that stuff. So you just have to look at it and approve it, and AI will take around 80% of your workload off your shoulders. And these AI agents, which I'm going to show you how to build, also analyze what is the reason for the objection if they didn't close. Was it they couldn't see the value, they don't have trust, or it's just not the right time? And it will, based on wherever stage there is, it'll start pushing out content to them to alleviate those issues. All of this will be consolidated and put into a document, which will also be inputted into that CRM we mentioned earlier, which has all the centralized information around what messages you've been sending to them, what touch points you've been sending to them, also the personal profile, the company profile, and all the next steps as well. So this is an hyper intelligent CRM system, which is able to take the next steps. Also, you're able to have an interaction with it, use AI chat feature to actually execute what you want to achieve, but it has access to all the files and knowledge base. Now, finally, once the proposal has been amended or you've sent over the relevant next steps items and you booked in the meeting, then the whole process repeats again if you haven't closed it. And then it repeats again and again and keeps providing as much feedback to the process and how to optimize everything until you actually do close them. Or if it's not the right time, we pass them into a nurturing cycle, which we had earlier, and it keeps nurturing them and follows up finally when it is the right time. And all of this is a massive AI intelligence system, which I showed earlier. But if you have no experience in code, no experience in any of this stuff, it's just I'm going to make it as simple as a drag and drop template where you just need to customize a few things of your own and you can use it for your own cost. And that brings me on to the final stage around invoice creation. Once they've actually approved it, I'll show you how to create the surface level agreement, contracts, invoices, and pass that over. And then once they've signed that, because it has access to your email inbox, it has access to the triggers, then it will pass them to the onboarding flow. And that's for another section. Now, you're thinking, how much does this entire system cost? And look, I'm not selling you a product. I'm not trying to sell you like one of our systems, because all of our systems are bespoke towards our clients. But I'm trying to show you what really works for us. And because it works for us, we use it for our clients. And these systems take out so much manual work, but they do not negate the fact that sales needs to be done human to human, at least for high ticket items, and build that relationship and trust. But what this is allowing you to do is pass over the highest opportunities so that sales development reps or business development reps can get in front of the highest and most likely opportunities and not miss any of the opportunities which fall through the cracks. This system is a very, very large system, and I'll be giving everything away completely for free, showing you exactly how to customize it towards yourself. As you can imagine though, to run this software, there is cost behind the surface for like connecting different API keys, along with using different softwares. And most of this, every single one of these softwares I'll show you, has at least a 2-week free trial. So you can start using it, building it out as soon as possible, and then compile everything together to see if it is actually worth the investment. And then if you want to scale it, there's a lot more to this system as well, which we haven't covered here, but will in the next few videos. And I'll show you how to optimize that. If you want to really scale, we'll be paying a fraction of the cost for a salesperson or a sales development rep, doing all the manual work, such as sending emails, LinkedIn voice messages, following up all day long, contract creation, offer creation, all of that will be done by an AI. The whole beauty of this system, which I have not seen anyone cover, is that this system is truly intelligent. It's kitted out with a bunch of AI agents which has an AI brain, and it's continuously iterating and improving and optimizing. If you want us to build out the system for you, then that's what we specialize in. We more so specialize in the extreme high ticket B2B long deal lengths process. So if you're looking for Fortune 500 companies, or if you're looking to get in front of enterprise level, however, this system can be applied from enterprise all the way down to coaching, consulting with 4 or 5 people, or just a one-time startup founder. This is completely versatile, and I'll show you how to customize everything towards your own, and everything, as I mentioned, will be completely for free. Now let's get into the technical build, which you guys can copy and paste and implement into your own systems.